Repeat it once again that the moment you break out of this handshake, take your seat. Take your seat. Don't wait when he's going to say, "You come on, take your seat. Come on, take your seat." And there comes the most important thing in body language. Assume your seat. I was wishing to write it as assume your throne, because it really is a throne, because you are the king once you sit in the chair. Right. Now remember one important thing. In body language, this opponent kind of a positioning of the bodies is a taboo. It's a taboo, that means it is avoided. Of course, we are not going to go into the details, but I'll tell you that simply do not assume the cowboy stand-up situation, as they call in the body language. You will see when a bowler delivers his delivery on the batsman, right? He is very fierce and he is very aggressive sometimes to intimidate the batsman. The moment batsman breaks out of the stride, maybe due to the side screen or something like that, you will be surprised to find out suddenly the aggression of the ball is also vanished. Why? The batsman has simply refused to stand opposite to him, and he simply breaks the stride and the bowler suddenly becomes mellow. Because it's well, of course, I cannot explain it here right now in the details, because it's a very big scientific explanation behind that. But remember, it is in our DNA. If somebody approaches us head ahead, right ahead in front of you, we consider him as our opponents, right? So always avoid it. And here comes the most surprising element of the sitting, right? Whenever you sit, whenever you take your seat, tilt it with the 45 degrees from the interviewer. Tilt it, not too much, right? Slightly tilt it, right? If you cannot move the chair along, tilt it slowly. If you cannot even some interviewers are very cunning. You will find it in the police commissioner office or politician's office. What they do, they simply nail down that chair to the floor itself. So you cannot, change it. Simple, simply straight. Instead of sitting opposite to him, simply tilt in a situation. You must be, I'm sure, if you remember those old-time photographs, your fathers or your uncles, and you'll see the photos was something like this, isn't it? So that shows the friendliness, not like this something. So assume your seat. Number one. And here comes the most important part. Here comes the most important part. And that is, very few body language experts will ever tell you, but I'll tell you in brief. The moment you assume your seat, do not look at the interviewer. Head straight to the baggage or the files or the folders that you are bringing with you, right? Look into them. Deliberately and carefully draw out the files, your resume, whatever you want to do. Why? For those 5 to 8 seconds, give him a chance. Give your interviewer a chance to give you a total body scan. Everybody wants to do that. And there is a classic mistake most of the people do when they read in the books, that look into the eyes of the interviewer. When you do that, you deny him the chance to look straight at you. He wants to evaluate you, and that is the reason how. Simply give him the chance. Give him some 10 to 8 seconds, and you simply fish in your pocket, maybe in your folders, and he will look at you from head to toe. He will give you a scan, and then he will be cool about it. Maybe he will recline his chair. The moment he does it, you understand he's happy with you. Fine, right? Sometimes what happens? Some stubborn employees, right? Some stubborn youngsters rather. They have read it that you should write directly into the eyes of the interviewer. So what happens? The interviewer gets irritated at the time because he wants to have a look at you, especially when you are not looking at him. Then only he will be able to scan you, isn't it? Whether you are a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. You will be surprised to know that the scanning time for a girl or a boy is almost equal. Girls do not command a more scanning period as maybe the popular wisdom goes. No, nothing like that. In the interview room, you are all equal, irrespective of your gender, sexes, beauty, whatever. Fine. So give him a chance to look at you. So sometimes what happens actually, when I offer my services to the corporate sector as a body language expert, some of the interviewers or some of the bosses express this irritation. Hey, come on, we want to have a closer look at our interviewer. So when we don't have it, we ask him to come again, or we'll see his video. What to do then? Then I suggest them, not the interviewer, not the interviewee, the interviewer. I suggest them do one thing. Make some imaginary phone call on your phone. Not on a cellular phone, go for the landline, right? The moment you do it, the interviewer, the boy sitting in front of you, will suddenly break that stare or that glance, right? And you'll do something else. And the second advantage of the method is that now, while making a phone call, you can secretly look at him. And he will reveal his true colors more often than not. Maybe some of them will withdraw the chewing gum, something like that, right? Because they think that you're not looking at them, isn't it? So, this is the one. Give him a chance to give you a total body scan. 7 to 10 seconds. Once that is done, okay, feel. Right. Remember one simple thing. Now the fifth one, the most important, another important aspect. What is it? How you speak now. The scope of this short lecture is not exactly what you speak. We are focusing solely on the non-verbal presentation, isn't it? So remember, never fidget a lot. Fidget. What is fidgeting? Moving your limbs without any reason. Come on. Remember, your hands are as important in non-verbal communication as your vocal cords are in verbal communication. In short words, we talk with our hands, especially the European ones. It is, often humorously said about a Frenchman that if you tie down the hands of a Frenchman, he won't be able to speak because they speak with their hands. You have seen it, isn't it? Right? They speak with their hands. Don't do it in Indian context that much. Use your hands down the elbow only. Let them do the speaking, like by measuring the size or something like that. Their handshaking is, hand gesturing is even more important. Look at how we tell the story to a child, right? There was a big monster, isn't it, right? And you simply said there was a big monster. Now the impact is gone. So that is why the hands are equally important, remember. But don't fidget them that much, right? That is very irritating. Look at the James Bond movies now. When James Bond is captured by a so-called villain, Dr. No or the man with the gun or something like that, he never moves a lot. He simply stays right and he speaks as little as possible. That shows that you are returning the command with a command. That you are matching the power with your own. Never speak a lot. Give your answer properly, right. So remember this, that this fidgeting or your posture should be calm and quiet. Okay? Friendly. Then comes the next thing, and that is making a conversation with the person. As I described earlier, right? Never look into the eyes of your interviewer. Now, this is sometimes, this is maybe for some of you, it may sound funny, some of you, it may sound contradictory. Because we have been often told that look into the eyes and it will convey the sincerity. Remember, the body language is not an exact language throughout the world. It is not similar, right? There are 5,000 major languages in the world. Similarly, there are 5,000 different body language methods. Basically, all are one. But there are some changes. For an example, I'll tell you. In Western culture, when you nod your head, it means yes. So, right? So, if the buyer is nodding his head, so the seller gets enthusiastic. He gets a secret message that, yes, I'm going to buy the product. But what happens when the situation goes into Asia, right? In Japan, you'll be surprised to know, right? Japanese, they also shake their head. But that doesn't mean yes. So sometimes the Western sailors get baffled because for a long time, the Japanese buyer was saying yes to everything. And at the end of the pitch, at the end of the sales jargon, the sailor says, will you buy it? And then the Japanese will simply also no. Sorry. No. When he nods the head, it doesn't mean yes. When a Japanese nods his head, it means yes, I'm listening to you. That's it. He would simply say no. In Western culture, it means yes. In India, there is a very strange kind of a gesture, and it is unique for Indians only. Indians sometimes use this gesture to say yes. Now, this is not used anywhere else. I believe, of course, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I believe this is because of the element of importance of music in our culture. We are the musical guys, isn't it? Look at the Bollywood movies, look at the classical music. So we might have developed this gesture through the music itself. Yes, it was a good one. That may be the reason. Anyway, whatever. So remember that kind of thing. Your posture is equally important. Second thing is never look into the eyes of the interviewer, with some exceptions rather. In India, looking straight at somebody is considered as a sign that you are conveying the equality. In other words, you are defying the authority. Remember the classic baap beta situation. Right? And the child stands in front of his father like this, and the father gets good, why? Fine, because he has, obeyed the authority of the father. But if the child stays directly into the eyes, and the father is going to get the wrong message, isn't it? Or as I was telling someone about this, you can do it in the elevator. See how powerful your eyes are, right? There are certain manners and etiquettes to be maintained inside the closed, confined places where the intimate zone is low, right? The intimate zone is another great aspect of body language. But okay, fine. Let us come back to the subject. So when in an elevator, do this experiment, of course, on your own risk. I'm not responsible for the outcome of your experiment. Say there is a lady inside the lift or an elevator. Now, you go to the extreme corner of the elevator and simply keep looking at her like this. See what happens. You are not uttering a single word. You are not moving. You did not say anything obscene. You are not making passes at her. You are simply looking at her. And you will see that she will feel offended. Right? Because you are directly staring into it. बड़ी अजीब चीज है. हिंदी में there is one word that is known as lucha. Lucha. And purposefully I'm going to Hindi actually. Lucha means the one who stares a lot. Now the lucha is a derivation of a Sanskrit word lochan. Lochan, जिसका मतलब है आँख, eyes, lochan. So the one who stares is known as lucha. But in the interview, remember, always in India, if you are facing an Indian for an interview, periodically, to make your point, to stress your point, you can briefly look into his eyes. Exactly when shaking your hands, then look a brief, for a single glance, look at him and smile, right? Plastic smile should be there, no problem. If you don't feel like it, fake it. Make it. If you can't make it, fake it. That's a number one rule of the body language. If you can't make it, fake it, right? So put on a plastic smile, give him a glance, a flash of a glance, shake your hands, take your position, right? But for the rest of the conversation, imagine, see, let us say that this is the face of an interviewer, human face. These are the eyes. My God, I'm not a good drawer rather, right? So it rather looks like an MF Hussain portrait, isn't it? Say, this is a nose and this is a mouth. Not smiling, note it, interviewer mouth. Now imagine this area, this triangle, this imaginary triangle. Look into the triangle. When you are talking to an interviewer or you are talking to a person who is supposed to be superior, senior, assumes more power, non-friendly, rival kind of a person where the power play is going on, simply look into this imaginary triangle, right? But whenever you want to make a punch point, right? When you want to stress your point, then for that brief period, you can look into his eyes, right? Fine? Right? So will you